Okay, so welcome. Uh, Good to have you around. So here you are in life, and if you remember yourself as a child, there was no lust problem. Some of you may not remember yourselves as children, but very early on there was a stage, definitely there was a stage, where you had no lust. This is going to be a positive video, not wishful thinking positive, but genuine positive. And at some point when your mind was clear, you're playing around joyfully, parents staring at you, you're wondering at your, in amazement at your playing around, doing all kinds of stuff, with things, objects and things, playing around very jovially, without any abandon. Parents constantly stopping you, don't do this, don't do that, or just simply enjoying yourself, just going around, exploring the world around you. And, watching over you, make sure you don't get yourself hurt. Now, had they were not aware of certain instructions, some knowledge to share with you, to help you bypass this lust issue which came up at some point during your childhood or adulthood, some point, some of you early, some in the teens, some a little bit later, you develop this lust issue. A lot of you are in single life. A lot of you are married. A lot of you are in a relationship, almost getting married. But you all have this common problem, this lust that is from low to very high degrees, from low, medium to high degrees. And many of you are in despair, are in a desperate situation, because it's like you're falling into a ditch and there is no way out. In a well, and there's no way out. And you've been told this way and that way about people telling you there is a solution for this problem, and all you get is mumbo jumbo. Nothing practical, nothing really genuine, not a real genuine solution. Same with the books. a lot of books. And so you waste your energy going here, there, trying to find a solution. A lot of you don't even know there is a solution, because you say, how could there be a solution? Because it's a natural thing. You have this belief that this lust is a completely natural thing. We will be discussing this a little bit later. So a lot of you are riddled with guilt. Riddled means you're just filled with guilt. It is bothering the heck out of you. It bothers your relationship with others, messes with your own relationship with yourself. Like friends and family with us as well, you get mixed up with them. You have difficulty in relationships. Even if you have a relationship, this problem persists. At times you feel really right. At times you feel really wrong. Either way, you're mixed up. You can't quite get your head around what the heck is going on. Because one minute you're like, this is right. Then you go, no, this is wrong. So, as an introduction, I'm here to tell you that, inform you that there is a solution, and that makes absolute sense. Common sense makes absolute sense. So you can learn it, just like you learn how to tie your shoes. There is a science to it, there's a method. You will learn it, and you will learn it so thoroughly. You will learn it so thoroughly, just like you will learn how the inside of an engine works, or how to sew, or how to bake a cake. Whatever job that you do, how to turn on a car, how to detangle a string. There's a methodology towards all these things, and same with this problem. There is a method, and you'll become familiar with it, know it, practice getting free from it, and it's just a science, like any other science, and you'll become familiar with it and reap the benefits of thorough understanding and skillfully overcoming it, so that it's no longer a problem. Now, in a lot of the videos, I'll be sharing some preliminary stuff before I get into the actual insights. The book, as you know, has 242 insights, and before I go into the insights, I'll be giving some preliminary information that is helpful, very, very helpful for you to digest the material better. You need to have that. It's like, the reason for this is because it's like if you're thirsty and you want to get a drink, and you go to somebody without a cup, you can't get a drink. Let's say you go to somebody to get some food or drink, and you close your mouth. Nobody can feed you. So there's a lot of preliminary stuff that is very important, and I'm going to share that with you before I get into the insights. Okay, so the first preliminary thing that I want you to know is that admit that this is mentioned in the book, admit that you do not know whether the information that I have is true or not. You have to be honest, and you have to be honest 100%. A lot of you don't know what that means. I'll make a nice video on that, describing how what do I mean by being 100% honest. But for now, just know that it's very important for you to be honest and admit to yourself that you don't know whether I have the solution or not. I know I have the solution, but you don't know. also admit to yourself that, hey, maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have part of it. Maybe I have all of it. Maybe I have some interesting ideas. Maybe I'm just rubbish. So this honesty is very necessary for you to observe me, listen to me, with a mind that is open, aware, and just doesn't believe what I say. You're not a robot, and that is not going to help you in understanding the material. I want you to see that it makes sense on your own. You will know it so thoroughly that you can describe it in your own language instead of just repeating the words that I'm using. Okay, so we're going to go to insight number 1, which is on page 67. Now, as you have the book, you notice that there is the insight, and then it's very short, compact, brief sentences or paragraphs, very compact. So, 5 sentences are made into one. And then once you read that, you try to understand it as best as you can. If you need clarification, you can read the explanation that is underneath the insight, and you go to the next insight. By the way, this insight is important, or any insight, it's important to understand it, see if it makes sense, question the hell out of it, because you really want to understand it, thoroughly. And you want to see it in nature, in actual life, see if it actually occurs in actual life. You want to identify it in actual life, you want to spot it, you want to see it at work, in actual life, so that the knowledge becomes real to you. You will have to be able to see it in innumerable places in life, so that you really get a handle on, you really got this information. In areas which it doesn't make sense to you, it seems not to apply, you have to think more deeply. Why doesn't it apply here? Or why doesn't it make sense to somehow it doesn't work here? You have to go on and pose your questions on that. And look also deeper, and you'll discover the solution. Okay, so lack of information on sex. This is insight 1. Lack of information on sex allows misinformation to become the foundation of our sexual understanding. Lack of information on sex, yeah. So as kids, we're not told about sex. We're told nothing, or extremely little, or some wild story. Like the stork is bringing the babies. So because as kids we're totally uninformed, and we're naturally curious. We're curious about so many things in life. We question this, that, what is that, and why is that, Why is this, why is that, or whatever it is, we're curious about it. And we're not given information about sex. We're totally a blank on it. This leaves our minds open to misinformation. So misinformation we get exposed to from our friends. It could be family, it could be programs, magazines, videos, whatever is out there. We get misinformation. They're not only misinformation, they're highly manipulative. And what that information does, it becomes the foundation. It's the first information, makes a definite impression on our mind, and becomes the foundation of what we think sex is about. This manipulative information, we've made it the foundation. We have no choice. It's the first information we're given. So, in the situation that you are now, it's important to realize that. Think that, hey, this is part of the problem, that I was early on exposed to this misinformation and took it to be real. So this is vitally important for you to realize as an adult how powerful an influence it was from early on to be fed this misinformation. And it's just like when you have some deep-rooted problem and you're trying to fix it from above. It's important for you to realize how deep really is the root of the problem. Then you can go and yank it out, find the root and go, okay, this is the problem. No, and as an adult, you can't say, oh, well, the problem is just here, surface area, whatever that may be. This is important, this insight to remind you, to inform you that, hey, this is a deep-rooted problem from very early on, and you need to root it out from there. That involves looking into your childhood and redefining what you thought to be true. You're seeing him as false. You're seeing him, hey, wait a minute, that was misinformation. That was highly manipulative and very early on. And you start to reprogram yourself in your mind. Go, hey, this is garbage. This is wrong. Let me put a doubt to that. This is wrong. Anyway, this is just a light overview. All the stuff will be going into very, very detailed, very nicely. Gradual manner. Yes. In the book, I give an example of how when how vines, those vines that grow, they're similar to the string, and they grow from the ground, wrapping themselves around a branch of a tree or a tree, and they're just climbing on the tree, going up to wherever they want to go. So they use the tree as a foundation, similar to how we are using this misinformation as a foundation of our understanding of sexuality. So this is the foundation, and everything else that we get, the first information becomes the foundation. Any other information that we get is placed on this foundation, adds more to this, and we build this grand image of what is sexuality about. They're based on this, it just adds up. And now, the example in the book that I give is that our understanding, because it's built on a faulty foundation, it's similar to the vine that is wrapping itself around a branch that has fallen off the tree. It's broken off the tree and it's fallen. Now, onto the floor, the vine is now wrapping itself around this broken, fallen branch, growing to a certain degree, but it cannot grow more. It cannot go further up. It reaches up, but there's nothing there. It's faulty. Faulty foundation. Now, another thing is the first or early information, right? The first or early information coupled with sexual gratification, meaning that's what we were exposed to, visually, audibly, whatever it was, and the sexual feelings at the same time, provides for the misinformation to take hold very strongly in the mind, that is. In other words, it makes a powerful impact. Now, since sexual gratification is undoubtedly felt, meaning experientially felt by the individual, it needs no validation, proof of its validation, for its validation. It doesn't need any proof of its existence. It exists. It's valid. It's true. That's the impression it gives to us, because what we feel sensually is so powerful and mentally so powerful. The whole experience is such a powerful experience that we say this is something true. Not only that, but also it gives the impression that whatever leads up to the sexual gratification and whatever they're engaged in, whatever leads up to that, such as a lifestyle, is also true, valid. It gives that impression. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it gives you that impression without saying it. That's the impression that it gives. It resembles truth. As you know, people are less likely to give up their original impressions and information on any subject matter. But cling to it. Including information on sex. Very good. So the last of the insight at the bottom explanation, I say that in this case, the faulty foundation itself has to be identified. Its validity has to be questioned, toppled, pulled out by the roots and thrown away. Pulled out by the roots, thrown away. All right. This all will be explained later. Very good.